Hi, I'm Kat, marketer turned brand storyteller.
And I'm Candice, educator turned entrepreneur.
And you're listening to
Not Nice, Clever.
As CEOs and leaders, it's your job to always have the answers, but sometimes you need a little help. Leverage, if you will. We get it. This is the place for you.
So wherever you're listening, 5:30 a.m. club at the gym, on your way to your next meeting, or putting out today's fire, let's get into it.
In today's mini episode of Not Nice Clever, we are sharing all of our favorite time-saving apps on our phones. This is a question that comes up often in client sessions, and it's also something that we recognize busy entrepreneurs, busy CEOs, team leaders. Y'all, your time is your money. So, let's have you save like a couple hundred or a couple thousand just by listening to this episode and dive in.
One app that I recently started to use is called AnyDo. And I love it because it is basically a virtual to-do list. And if you're anything like me, there's nothing more satisfying than like crossing something off your to-do list or checking that box that it's done. But the great thing about it being virtual and online is I can literally drag and drop the task onto a certain day. I can set reminders so my phone will remind me when those things are due, and I can really allow it to make me more productive because I can line up and prioritize by dragging and dropping. And I enjoy it because there's also, I could do it on my phone, but there's also a website I can go to. So if I'm at my desktop, I can look at it and manipulate it there as well. The other great thing about it is, we have so many different things that we do.
Yeah.
Like we have obviously Not Nice Clever. I have Elevate Design Studios. We have Sirhant stuff. So I can actually separate my lists by the different categories. So maybe it's a personal thing goes on my personal list, or maybe it's an Elevate Design Studios thing, it goes there. If it's a podcast thing, it goes there, and just keep everything really nice, neat, and organized. And I know our listeners are also focused in a lot of different areas of life. So this really helps to get it all together and concise.
Yeah. And so for those of you guys listening, thinking like, I think we did an episode about this a while ago. Like, everybody is an influencer. Candice, you influenced me. I had been looking for a to-do list style app. I'm not a huge fan of to-do lists. I like done lists. But what I like is that the way that AnyDo is designed, I can make my own done list day by day, which is nice. And then of course, categorizing those 4 buckets, right? Like when we had Ryan Sirhant on the podcast, he was talking about how he compartmentalizes personal, brokerage, education, and then like giving back, to his community and his team. And so compartmentalizing, you've got design, Elevate Design Studios. I've got, the brand architect consulting. We've got the podcast and Sirhant. It's nice to be able to separate it so it's not so messy. And you were sharing too, and I'd love for you to share with our listeners that AnyDo, you incorporate it into blocks on your calendar, right? Because if it's not on the calendar, it doesn't get done. So share the strategy with the people.
So I now have even more intentional time blocks on my calendar as I get busier and busier. I understand how important it is to block out time to take care of the small tasks in my business that might not get done if I'm on calls all day, right?
Yes.
So I make sure that inside of my calendar, ahead of each week, I have blocks, and I just name the block AnyDo, and I'll put 30 minutes or an hour. And so the block is called AnyDo. No one can make a meeting on top of it. And I just go, okay, for 1 hour, I'm going to do focused work towards getting things done on my to-do list. And because they are prioritized in AnyDo, I know which one is most important, which one's time sensitive. And then another great thing about AnyDo is that it keeps my recurring tasks. For example, I write 4 blog posts a month. And so it reminds me every time to write those blog posts. And then I can just look at my time block on my calendar and say, okay, it's my AnyDo time right now. Can I knock out some of those blog posts? Can I knock out what makes sense for me to knock out in this blocked period of time? So that's been really working for me. Another thing that I like about it is it's a little bit flexible. So maybe I do want to focus on my blog at that time, or maybe that's not the right time because I just got off a bunch of calls with people and I'm like brain dead, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, that's not the time for that, but maybe there's another task on there that's requires less energy and I can choose that as well. So there's flexibility in my calendar as long as I'm making progress.
Yeah, we love that. So Another really great time-saving feature or app that I appreciate, and I'm an iPhone user, so if you're an Android user, I'm sure that they have a version of this on that operating system too, but it's the focus mode and setting time limits, screen time limits. Right? So for focus mode, I like it because I have generally 3 different ones. I have one where it is just strict do not disturb. So after I have shut down for the day and I'm just present with my family or I'm present with myself and winding down for the evening, the only people that can get through to me on my phone are those on my favorites list, which are my immediate family, right? You're also on that list, Candice, just FYI.
Oh, of course.
You know?
Yeah, I didn't even have to ask. I knew.
So I love that. I also have a focus mode for work. So if I am in work mode, there's certain people, colleagues, peers, Candice, of course, is also on that list, where if they text or call me, it does get through, but everything else is off to the wayside. So I don't get any social media notifications, right?
Oh,
so it just allows text or Slack from those pre-approved contacts to get through, which is great because I will need to focus on messages that come in like that, right? And then the other thing that I like is setting time limits. So Candice, we talk about this a lot, that we are content creators, capturers, documentarians. The algorithm is very messed up to not show me actually my friends and family because I'm always using it for research and strategy.
Yep.
But I will set a daily 2-hour time limit for all social media apps on my phone. And it doesn't happen often, but sometimes when I do hit that time limit and it's not even like the evening, I'll be like, oh, maybe I should audit how I spent my day, because was I really intentional or was I just kind of like doom scrolling and going down the notification rabbit hole? You know how easy it is to fall down that, right?
Oh, so easy.
So focus mode, time limits.
And if you're a Scorpio and you're just a straight savage like me, you just put your phone in airplane mode.
Savage Scorpio status.
I am good for that. I'm just airplane mode for who knows how long.
I know. I love that. So our next app is actually really good. And Candice, you were talking about this. It has to do with password sharing. How much time do we spend resetting our fucking passwords?
Way too much time. Yeah.
Too much time.
It makes no sense. Why are they making me change my password all the time? I hate that. So especially now as my team is growing and I need to allow people access to certain accounts. LastPass is a great way to store your passwords in a safe place, and it really allows you to get into pretty much any of your accounts with ease, and it allows you to share your passwords with people without them seeing your password.
Huge.
So if I want someone to have access to my Airtable account because we're working on a project together, I can just add their email address in LastPass and it'll ask me, do you want them to see the password? Do you want them to not see the password? I'll check not see the password and they will get the link. They'll be able to log into the account without ever knowing what that password is. So it's helps to keep your data safe. And like I said, if you're growing the team, it's a great way to keep everything organized and in one place. It has been a time saver. I will say that one time I did forget my password to LastPass. That was a challenge. But other than that, it's been great.
Yes. So
I think that's a user
thing.
It is.
User error, as I like to say. Anytime I remember way back when I still worked in corporate, this was like, 11, 12 years ago now. I had messed up one time and I asked my supervisor, I was like, how do I respond in the email? She's like, you just claim user error and move forward. I'm like, so that's always my go-to. I'm like, user error, apologies, moving on. Here's the solution. Here's the right thing. Those are our favorite time-saving apps, tips, tricks for protecting your time, protecting your calendar time. In addition to your energy is your greatest asset as a CEO, as a leader, as an entrepreneur. If you have any other time-saving apps that we didn't go over today, we would love to hear about them because we are all about learning. Shoot us a DM on Instagram at NotNiceClever. And if you have another question, you can also shoot it over to us.
Thanks for joining us on Not Nice, Clever.
Remember to follow Not Nice, Clever wherever you listen to audio.
And if you haven't already, drop that 5-star review.
Share your takeaways. Tell us your story. We love to hear it.
Signing off, you're not so nice, but oh so clever besties that mean business.
See you soon.